That cow right there is an absolute unit. Good morning, everybody. I am Dalton. This is Armson Farms, and you are back to the Footlong Farmers YouTube channel. If you're not back, if this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button, guys. You're gonna love what we got going on here. I'm so full of... Never mind. All right, well, today, that was such a corny joke. That was terrible. I apologize for that. I probably wouldn't subscribe to my channel after that either. Anyways, we are gonna get this barn cleaned out as I do every morning. We've got a cow that's calving with a backwards calf. Gonna get that taken care of. Then we're gonna get to hauling some manure. We are right down in the thick of it. Again, we've had sand in our dairy, so the bottom of our lagoon is always a sand-laden material because the sand separates out of our manure. We do not own a boat to stir it up. So we're gonna finish pumping that liquid out. Definitely not today, but within this week probably, the liquid will be gone. We're gonna start cutting a trench in the wall of our lagoon, digging all the sand out and building a dam. I will explain more about that for those of you who have not watched the channel yet to know what I'm talking about, because cutting a hole in your lagoon sounds like craziness. It is. I will show you what I'm talking about after I get this barn taken care of. Nice and clean. Girl calved last night. Figured we'd take her down to the parlor. That's a beautiful cow right there. Love the silky black ones. Saw in that previous clip, guys, successful calving with that backwards calf. Those of you guys who don't know, when a cow has a calf, the calf comes out head first, feet first. So if they're backwards, it'd be their hind legs that come out first and their tail end. That's always really risky. It's hard on the calf because, sorry, got hung up on that gate. It's hard on the calf just because they can't breathe in there. Once that sack gets broken, being backwards, it's a lot more. I don't know the science behind it. I'll quit rambling. Anyways, backwards calvings are significantly harder than regular calvings. So that was a happy ending. We were able to get our calf jack on it and get it right out. So it was a little bull, which is unfortunate. You always hope for heifers, but it is what it is. A healthy calf is a healthy calf. So good deal on that. We're gonna get this mama put in here with the rest of the mamas in the fresh group. Before we get rolling here hauling manure, I'm gonna pull this pump out of the pit and take it over to our fuel tanks. Gotta fill the tractor with fuel. Also, there's something wedged in my agitation gun that's kind of being a major pain in the hind end. So, while we've got it over there at the fuel tanks, we are going to pop the cone off the end and see what's in there. 9 times out of 10, it's an alley scraper wheel. So it shouldn't be too bad, but we're gonna get that taken care of to start the day. I'm just moving the truck out of the way so I can get out of the pond here. So yeah, and that way the tractor will be right full of fuel. The tank on the tractor is bigger than what our fuel truck has, so kind of 2 birds, 1 stone. Slice your arm where I don't. That's our lock.
Wow.
All right.
How did I even get that?
That's the heifer barn. Someone threw it in the shed, got scraped into the shed, got transferred over, got started. Stuff you would never happen.
Yeah. Am I spreading today then? Is that the plan?
I'm assuming. That's all it was. It was not an alley scraper wheel. It was actually 2 hoof blocks and a horn, which is absolutely wild because our calves get dehorned the day they are born. So maybe 1 or 2 a year, somehow a horn gets by the guys and we got to cut it off when it gets a little bigger. So the fact that that made it from the heifer barn to the manure to the heifer pit to this pit to stirred up to stuck in my pump is wild to me. But that's my luck. That's how it goes. If it can happen, it will happen. So, anyways, a hot, muggy mother out today. So, we got our shorts on, our cutoff, and we are gonna get to rocking here finally. So guys, we're about to put the cherry on top of this field here. We should have it covered a second time today. You can see the manure is getting real thick now because we're in the bottom of the lagoon. He is stirring with the spreader each load. So as I explained in one of my other videos, this has in-tank agitation. So there's a knife valve on the back that you shut. There's a knife valve right there that you open, kick the PTO on, and it just circulates in there. And it works the sand up off of the floor and keeps it in suspension. We usually do that the first half. He'll probably shut it off when the tank gets about half full. We find that when it gets too full, it actually starts to separate the sand out. Being that we're almost done, Uncle Rob is headed out with the Pottinger Terra Disc here to start working this ground in. We will see how this goes. It may still be a little tacky down in the valley down there, so we might have to let it dry out another day or two, because that disc has a rubber roller on the back that when it gets tacky, it likes to plug up. So we'll see how it goes here, farming up here in God's country. I love the view from this field. But yeah, we just got all the short rows up there. I mean, it's still 15, 20 acres up there, so it'll still take us the rest of the day. But yeah, my in-laws live at the top of this field and they got company coming from Florida this weekend. So rather not have it smelling quite so potent. So hopefully working that in will help with that. Yeah, see, so he must be half full now. He just killed the PTO on that. But yeah, we do that every load. It's a little extra wear on that pump, but it prevents us from having to clean sand out of this tank like we used to with our old Hool. That's dangerous, it's time consuming, it's a pain in the butt. So, looks like he's ripping right along down there. I don't know if he's gonna be able to pull that back up the hill. Looks like he's chewing pretty good. But we'll see. We will see. Side note, this big hunk of corn here looks really nice. So that's actually 3 different fields because there's a creek down here that separates everything, but all together you got 109, 26, and 60. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna be at 180, 190 acres, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, he's chewing. I don't think this is gonna work too good. I think he's gonna have to wait till a drier day. Probably keep trying that for a little while. We'll see. If it becomes too big of a pain, he can stop. But like I said, down in the hollow down there, it's still a little damp. But he might be able to play around with his depths a little bit. And that packer wheel in the back, maybe he can lift that up some and make it happen. But I'm not really sure. But anyways, here's what we're looking like back at the lagoon. We are right down. Like I said, this stuff is pudding at this point. But we're still stirring between every load, trying to get all the sand out we can. You kind of see right over here, that is an island of sand starting to form. So we are getting down there. It's always hard to judge how much more liquid, because it could all of a sudden 2 more inches from now all turn into sand. But I'd be willing to bet there's still at least a day or 2 of spreading in here. With one truck, that is. So we'll keep picking away at it here and see what we look like at the end of the day. I just started unloading another load here. Figured we'd take a walk over and see what kind of a job this disc is doing. Yeah, this stuff is thick manure. Which, other than the fact that it settles in my tank, I actually prefer thick manure. You don't have to worry so much about runoff and foaming in the tanks and that kind of stuff. So here's the job that disc is doing. It's actually not doing a bad job at all. Rocks. No, it's really not doing a bad job, considering the amount of stubble and down wheat that we had when we combined. We had a lot, so there's a lot of residue here underneath this manure. One of my earlier videos here, I say earlier like I've been doing this forever. One of my first of a whopping 10 videos, we were picking up bales down here while they were combining. You could see this whole area was just flat from wind. Wind comes out of that direction. Actually, looks like someone is working up something right over there. Yeah, kind of cool. So yeah, this was flat, all kinds of residue left on the ground. But the disc is doing a halfway decent job getting it worked in. So that's good. Like I said, I'm not sure. Down there in the flat, you can kind of see he's kind of got some rows going. We will end up discing this at least once more, maybe twice, before we seed. So, you know, don't criticize me for saying you would never drill alfalfa into this kind of ground. We wouldn't either. Like I said, we'll come back in after it dries out and hit it once, maybe twice more. If need be, we can get the old cola mulcher out and try to use that. But generally this disc does an excellent job when it's the right conditions. Looks like it's pulling a little sideways coming up that hill. The video doesn't do this hill justice as to how sideways and steep it actually is, but yeah, well, we're probably about empty. Better get back to it. Well, executive decision was to shut that disc down. Wasn't doing enough to make it worth the time and the fuel. We'll let it dry out for a couple days and then go in and hit it. When it gets wet, like I said before, those rollers in the back will plug up and it turns into a big bulldozer. So what he was doing is he was actually angling the disc down like that to try to keep that roller up out of the muck. And by doing that, it took a lot of the pressure off of the second set of discs and really wasn't working enough dirt to make it worth the time. So yeah, we're gonna give it a couple days and we'll come back to it then. So in the meantime, we'll finish getting the spread. Well guys, it's lunchtime. We are gonna head home, have lunch with the family, and then come back and get after it here. Every load, you can see more and more sand in that lagoon. I know this is getting repetitive, but it's just never ending when you get to the bottom of the pit. But I will say, I will be happy when we do, because I will love to get into a different piece of equipment for a little while. That old 88 Eagle does not have any air conditioner, or a working fan, or a passenger window that goes down. So when it is currently 96, probably closer to like 88, 90. but regardless, hot, and you have a motor right in front of you that is 210 degrees, it kind of sucks when you're in the truck and don't have much for air movement at all. So I'll be happy when we can get that pond spanked so we can get to digging sand and I could be in an air-conditioned tractor for a little while. And honestly, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit more cow work at the moment. Like I said, I've pretty much lived in the truck for 10, 12 days now. So, yeah, gonna go get some lunch. We'll see you guys after that, I guess. A little pocket of liquid down the far end of this lagoon that's blocked by sand. So Bob's got the old loader out here trying to cut me a trench to get some of that water to flow this way. Just moving that sand out of the way that my gun won't reach. You know, my gun reaches to right in there. That's about as far as I can get. So we'll see if we can't get that to flow this way at all. See, he's making a nice little dam down through there. All right, guys, this is the last load for that field and for the day. Do your curtsy. Anyways, that feels good. We've been hauling to that same field for going on a week now. Gets pretty monotonous after a while, but here's what the lagoon's looking like right now. So sand, obviously, and then you can see where I've tried cutting the sand out with the lagoon, but most of this is sand. I am gonna try to back the pump in down there next week because there is still that little pocket of water that we can't reach with the excavator to get it to come this way. So I'm just gonna move the pump to that end. But yeah, obviously we are right down there. The plan is once the liquid's out, we are going to cut this wall out and drive right down in there and get that sand done. And then we've got to build a dam right here to keep the manure in this end of the lagoon, because that whole end of the lagoon we're going to rip off. You can see over there where the site's begun, big round lagoon, concrete lagoons going in over there. So this will probably be the end of the week or next week's deal, but for now, at least we're right down into the thick of it. We're right down, we're almost out. And there's definitely more sand in here than I expected, being that we just cleaned it out a couple months ago. But, you know, we bed 5 to 6 semi-loads a week, so that adds up. I guess some of that goes up to the new barn, but so it doesn't all come into here. But yeah, so that's the plan. Get the rest of this liquid pumped out onto a different field, cut the wall out, dig the sand out, build a dam. Plans changed, so we'll just play it by day and see what happens. In the meantime, feels good to have that done, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed just another chaotic day. Hit that like and subscribe button. Do it. I'll pause. I'll wait. Not gonna end the video until you do it. Yeah, I'm gonna end the video. Hey, see you guys tomorrow.